My name is Andy, and this is the most magical podcast on Earth. When I'm not on holiday at Walt Disney World, I'm planning a holiday to Disney. When I'm not planning a holiday to Disney, I'm talking about Disney with other UK fans like me who make the trip to Orlando and the House of the Mouse. So if you too are daft about Donald, then this is the podcast for you. Or maybe you're the Disney novice just thinking about maybe trying to plan your first ever trip to Walt Disney World, but your journey to Galaxy's Edge seems just too far away. Well, then this really is the podcast for you. Each episode, I'll be chatting to other Disney superfans from around the UK to share their memories of their magical times. And this week we chat to Matt. And does this sound very familiar to you?
We actually had flights and hotels and everything booked, and we had to cancel it all, unfortunately.
Also going to be answering your Walt Disney World questions, get the latest news from the park, some of your tips and recommendations, and everything you need to know to have the most magical time on the most magical place on Earth. And make sure you keep in touch with us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. We are at PodMagical. This is the most magical podcast on Earth as part of the Secret Recordings Network. If you've got any questions for the podcast, you can send them over. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, PodMagical. I get a lot of questions pretty much every day saying, when do you think we'll be able to fly from the UK to America again? Do you know what? I wish I knew the answer to that. I think probably in about 6 weeks, we might know a little bit more. But again, it depends on not whether we can fly out of the UK, but whether we can fly into America. So there's quite a lot going on. I wish I knew the answer, but I don't. Also, as well, I know Port Orleans French Quarter is a really popular resort to stay at with Brits, especially. It's a great resort to stay at. You can't book there at the moment. Amelia has asked me, do you know when the opening is going to be for that? Will they reopen it again? Again, I don't know. At the moment, for next year, you can book for Walt Disney World for next year. That's not one of the hotels that's on the list at the moment, but I'm guessing as soon as the parks get back open to capacity, they will start to reopen all the resorts. They're just kind of like doing as much as they can at the minute, then they can kind of open up a bit more, like with restaurants and dining plans and stuff like that. They're just going to hold back until they're probably 100%, 120% sure that they can open that up again. Also, a question about magic bands from Helen, who says, we usually get the free magic bands, but we're not getting the free magic bands next time we go. How do we go about getting in and out of the hotels, in and out the parks, using fast passes? Do we get something else instead? Yes, you do get something else instead. You can add on the magic band. You can always pay for a magic band when you make your booking, or when you check in, you'll get the key to the world card, which is basically like a credit card. Like, you know, when you stay in a hotel and they give you those keys, those credit card type keys, that will be your key to the world card, which will be acting like a magic band. You can just pop it in your pocket. Also, they've got some cool designs on there. Your favourite Disney characters are on there, so you might just want to collect those instead. You might want those and a magic band. But don't worry, Mickey's not forgotten about you. He'll still let you get in and out of the parks. Any questions? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, PodMagical is where we are. And if you'd like to be a podcast guest like Matt, it's the same place to go. So let's talk Disney memories. Matt, what is it that you love about Walt Disney World?
When you go in, you walk through those gates and just everything else just stops, really. The world kind of disappears for a bit, and you're completely surrounded by people that are there for the exact same reasons as you. Everyone's there to have fun, have a good time, and it's just a really nice feeling, really.
And it's needed more than ever, I think. So when was actually first time and last time? When was the first time you went? When was the last time you went?
So I've spent the last week trying to kind of track this down. So the first time I went was actually when I was 2 or 3. So that would have been 1996 or 1997. Not quite sure the exact date, but that was the first time. And I've actually been a couple of times since then. So kind of I think we went in 1999. And the only reason I think it was 1999-2000 time was because I have a vague memory of... Do you remember the Mickey arm that was on the side of Epcot with the magic wand?
Yes.
So I think that was for the Millennium.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, I have a vague memory of that. So we think that time was 1999. Yeah, we've been twice since the Millennium, so 2004, 2010. So yeah, 2010 was our last time there.
So I'm guessing from the first time you went, you're saying you're like 2 or 3, you're probably not going to remember anything about it, or do you?
Not really, no. The only thing I remember is falling asleep on a sun lounger at Blizzard Beach. That's it, to be honest with you.
Highlight of the holiday.
Absolutely.
They are exhausting, though, trips to Walt Disney World. So what's your actual earliest memory, then, of going?
Possibly from that 1999 trip. I remember kind of being sat on my dad's shoulders outside the front of Cinderella's castle watching the firework display and just being completely amazed by it all, really. So that's probably my earliest memory of it.
And what about your favourite memory? Is there a standout memory?
The last time we went, 2010, I was obviously a bit older, so probably able to remember it a little bit more, really. You know, when you go into Walt Disney World and you're queuing up for the rides and everything there, everything is just so well themed, and you just don't really get that level of immersion when you do things in the UK. You know, if you go to Alton Towers or something, the ride themselves are great, but you know, the actual queuing experience isn't, you know, anything on Walt Disney World. So yeah, probably just the whole experience of just being in the parks, really.
Let's talk about some of your particular favourite things then. Is there anything that you would say is your favourite attraction or show or
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a big roller coaster fan.
Right.
So all of the roller coasters are my thing. So Thunder Mountain, Space Mountain. Last time we went, Expedition Everest had maybe not just opened, but it was still kind of in that fairly new category. So Expedition Everest was absolutely amazing. Yeah. So all of the roller coasters.
Now, you say you're a roller coaster fan, and we can break out the Disney bubble for a bit here, Matt. It's fine. What would you say is the best roller coaster in Orlando?
In Orlando. So last time I went, it was the Hulk. The Hulk was absolutely incredible. But I've seen on YouTube and stuff at the moment that they are building the Velociraptor coaster at Islands of Adventure. And Jurassic Park's kind of my favourite film, really. So I'm very, very excited to get over there at some point and go on that.
So this is going to be an excuse to go back then, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
In fact, you were planning on going, was it last year?
We were, yeah. So it's been in kind of my to-do list for a little while. Is kind of once I finish uni and got a job and stuff, is to actually save up and go back to Walt Disney World and kind of plan my own trip rather than going with my parents for once. Originally, I was hoping to go in 2019, and kind of when the time rolled around to booking, I couldn't quite afford it at that point. So we decided to push it back a year and go in 2020. And then COVID happened. So, we actually had flights and hotels and everything booked, and we had to cancel it all, unfortunately. But we managed to get everything back as vouchers, and we've actually rebooked for this summer, so summer 2021. So we're keeping absolutely everything crossed at the moment that hopefully we'll be able to get over there this year.
Beginning or end of summer?
Beginning of summer. So plans to fly out the first week of August and kind of do 2.5 weeks.
So where will you be staying? Are you going to stay on Disney?
No, we're not. So my parents actually own timeshare, which they brought in Orlando on one of our trips over there. So we're actually going to use their timeshare. So I think we're staying around Lake Buena Vista. That's that sort of area. So just outside Disney World.
Yeah, you're on the door to Disney, really, aren't you? Lake Buena Vista.
Yes, yeah. So when I looked on Google Maps, you're literally round the corner from one of the gated entrances. So. Yeah, not too far away. So
have you ever stayed on site at Disney, or have you always stayed timeshare or off?
We've always done timeshare, to be honest with you. I think one of the early times that we went, we did a villa, because there was quite a few of us. So we rented a villa nearby and stayed there. So never stayed on property, but just from kind of listening to the people that have been on the podcast before, Animal Kingdom Lodge sounds absolutely incredible. So that's on my bucket list of things to try at some point.
Well, it's definitely worth a visit when you go next time, even if you're not staying there. You know, just jump in the car and go and have a look. Maybe have a meal at Sanaa or something like that.
Yeah, because that's something I've never done before. Is just kind of go around the different kind of on property resorts and just had a look and get a bit of a feel for the different hotels and you were saying there, restaurants as well. Never done any of that sort of stuff in the actual hotels themselves. So yeah, if we can get over there this year, I'll put it on the to-do list.
Yeah, there's some good restaurants in the resorts. Let's talk about restaurants, actually. Have you got a particular favourite place to eat?
So again, we've not really done many of the restaurants when we've been. We've been very kind of regimented in terms of trying to get on all the rides and do everything that we wanted to do. But
yeah, no time for eating.
But no time for that. But in terms of restaurants, the ones that we have done have been in Disney Springs. Well, I keep going to call it Downtown Disney. It's Disney Springs now.
Yeah, old school.
Yeah, absolutely. So the two I remember quite fondly are both Planet Hollywood and Rainforest Cafe.
Yeah, which are still there, by the way. They're still there.
Yeah, I think last time I went, it was the old like globe shape, and you had to go up the tunnel into the globe.
But it's one of those bucket list things, isn't it? Planet Hollywood. It's like, if I'm going to America, you've got to do a Planet Hollywood somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just like all the film merchandise and all that sort of stuff hanging around the walls. So yeah, I could spend a couple of hours in Planet Hollywood quite happily.
I will let you dream of that for a moment, Matt, and we'll be back with some more of your Walt Disney World memories. But right now, let's get an update on the news. And since the last podcast episode, we had an update on the 50th birthday celebrations. As you will know, because we've been waiting for years, Walt Disney World turns at 50 on October the 1st. And the world's most magical celebration will kick off on that date and last for 80 months. So 80 months from the 1st of October, Cinderella Castle is going to get a bit of a makeover. It's already had a bit of a paint job, which I think was the base for this. They always knew that this was going to be coming. So there'll be some extra gold bunting and a special 50th anniversary crest above the castle. But not only the castle that's going to get a little bit of an iridescent makeover, all the park beacons are going to become a beacon of magic. So the Epcot Ball, Spaceship Earth, also the Tree of Life and Animal Kingdom and the Tower of Terror over at Hollywood Studios are also going to get a nighttime makeover. Along with that, the iridescent makeover goes to Mickey and Minnie as well. They've got some nice new 50th anniversary suits, and no doubt there'll be a lot of iridescent merchandise. You know, ears, spirit jerseys, the likes that we were wanting to buy. So 1st of October, that's when the party starts, and it's on for an entire year and a half. And I have a feeling there will be more announcements still to come, but I think they're probably going to just be holding on to them until it seems right and they know that they can go ahead. Already going ahead is the Epcot Flower and Garden Festival, when Epcot looks its prettiest. That started earlier on this week. There's also more enhancements to the entrance of Epcot. You know, they got rid of those tombstones with people's faces on, whatever they're called, and they put the new fountain in. There's new flags that have gone up as well. They're just around Spaceship Earth with the new Epcot logos. The new old Epcot logos. Also, there's a new photo spot. If you love a bit of a selfie and you want a new selfie wall, you're done with the purple wall. Next time we go back to Magic Kingdom, Orange Bird, who's got a bit of name for himself over in Florida. There's a new Orange Bird mural that you can have your selfie in front of if you want to find that. It's over at Magic Kingdom just by Sunshine Tree Terrace. And finally, over at the other park, let's talk about Universal, shall we? They've got Universal Studios, they've got Islands of Adventure. They say they've got a third theme park, which they haven't really. It's a water park. The real third theme park, Epic Universe, it's been confirmed that construction is going to be back on very soon. So a lot of people are wondering, is that going to happen? Is this new park going to happen for Universal? Well, it looks like it is. It might be a few years before we get to go, but at least the signs are there that construction is back underway. Don't forget, you can keep up to date with all the news from over in Orlando and Florida. Just follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Pod Magical is where we are. Matt's our guest on this episode of the podcast. Let's talk about stuff that used to be at Walt Disney World that they've got rid of, because you've been going for many years. Is there anything that's no longer there that you miss?
I actually really, really liked Stitch's Great Escape, and that ride gets a lot of slack from a lot of people, and I actually thought it was pretty good. So, yeah, I'm sad that's closed down. That was definitely a guilty pleasure, I think.
What was it about that ride you like? Well, I would say, right, it's not a ride. You just kind of sit there.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was just the fact that it was just funny. It was just quite a nice, enjoyable, not really a ride. I guess kind of a hybrid between a ride and a show, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Something that, everybody could do together and everybody could enjoy. So quite enjoyed
Did
that.
you go in it before it was Stitch, when it was the alien encounter?
No, so I think when it was Alien Encounter, I was a little bit too young for that one.
Yeah, definitely.
So... yeah, had to sit out on that one.
It was very not Disney. Was there anything else that they've now got rid of that you think, that's a shame?
So one of the last times we went, we did a day in Disney Quest, so the interactive theme park, I guess you could call it, that was at Disney Springs.
Yeah.
That was so cool, and I'm so gutted that they got rid of that. I remember doing they had a section in there that was like a design your own roller coaster thing. So you went up to this screen, kind of built your roller coaster how you wanted it, and then went in a simulator and basically rode the roller coaster that you just designed, and that was just mind blowing. Bit sad that that's gone. There's some other really cool stuff as well. Like they had an Aladdin's carpet simulator, so you sat on a carpet, and I think you had to do some stuff, and yeah, it was kind of like projection of flying over the city and stuff. So that was really cool. Bit gutted that's gone, really. But other than that, one of the rides I really, really enjoyed, especially when I was a little bit younger, was Test Track. And I really loved the original theming for that. And I know that they've swapped that out now to kind of like a more kind of futuristic simulator type design. But that old style that Test Track had was just
Yeah,
so
it was like the
cool.
proper crash test dummies, wasn't it?
Yeah, especially that point where you literally crash into the wall and go into the outside section. That was amazing. So sad that that's gone.
I think I also prefer the old Test Track. We're going to put this to the vote on Instagram stories over the week. We'll put that old on you for the Test Track. So what are you looking forward to next time you go? Because there'll be quite a few new things that you haven't seen.
Yeah, absolutely. So the reason I was so keen to book to go back to Disney originally in 2019 was because I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I was so desperate to go to Galaxy's Edge when it opened. So as well as kind of having to push the trip back from 2019, I thought it was quite a smart decision at the time as well, because then if there was any delays or stuff, hopefully everything will be open. And like Rise of the Resistance opened a little bit later than Millennium Falcon, didn't it? So so really excited to get over there at some point and do all the Galaxy's Edge stuff.
And maybe you could meet the Mandalorian and Grogu.
Maybe, yeah. I've heard rumours that they might be trying to bring them into the parks. Mandalorian's been excellent. Really
it's been fantastic, hasn't it? Yeah, and Disney Plus have got a lot of stuff coming your way to keep you occupied with Star Wars. Meanwhile,
yeah, that new slate is it's pretty full, isn't it?
Well, as soon as they can start filming again.
Hopefully, now that COVID's been around for a little while and people have got procedures and policies in place to keep people safe, production can start up again. And look forward to seeing some of those shows.
And hopefully we'll be able to go and you'll actually be experiencing Galaxy's Edge for yourself. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. Keeping everything crossed for that one.
Lovely chatting to you, Matt, and sharing your Disney stories.
Thanks, Andy. Appreciate it.
And have a magical day.
You too.
If you fancy joining me, want to be a podcast guest, just give me a shout. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pod Magical is where we are, and we'll get you on one episode talking about your love and your favourite things at Walt Disney World. Top tip of the week this week for this episode. My top tip is look beyond the menus. When we do get to go back to Walt Disney World, you'll be excited to eat everything, but there are things that aren't on the menus that you can have. For example, All Star Movies Resort, there is a secret menu. When you go to All Star Movies, go to the food court and ask for the secret menu. The cast member will retrieve a special briefcase. They'll give you a code to open the briefcase. Inside the briefcase is a set of Viewmasters. Remember those that you look through and you used to click and there used to be the little pictures that come up inside the old toy? Well, that is where the secret menu is. That's where you view the secret menu. I think this is like a burger on a donut. Probably stuff that you won't want to eat, but have a go anyway, You say, I don't like any of that. So there you go. There's a secret menu at Disney All-Star Movies Resort. If you know any secrets or any top tips, do share them with me. I'd love to hear from you. You can get in touch at any time. Let us know. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pod Magical is where we are. And make sure you've hit that subscribe button as well, because we've got new podcasts coming out every other Friday. So I don't want you to miss that. And if you could give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, that'd be brilliant as well. And until next time, please stand clear of the doors.